Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is the astrology for the week of November 15th to November 21st, 2021. Now in this video, I will give you a brief background on what's been happening in the astrology. Then I'm going to speak about the highlights for this week, and then I'm going to break down the energy of each day of the week. And towards the end of the video, I will pick a card for this week's energy and then just give you a brief summary for the week. Now this video is broken down into chapters, so you can click on whichever part you want to watch or whichever day's energy you want to know and just go directly to that. Now that being said, let's talk about the background. So we are coming into this week with the new moon in Scorpio energy again. Last week was all about the new moon in Scorpio energy, and so is this week up until Friday. Now what is that energy? That energy, which started on November 4th, 2021 with the new moon in Scorpio, is about change, is about transformation. It's about healing and catharsis as well. And this change, this transformation, this catharsis that is happening and will happen till Friday, November 19th, when we will have the full moon partial lunar eclipse, could have come about quite suddenly and unexpectedly. And it could have come about after a decision or a commitment, or along with a feeling of feeling slightly restricted, because that new moon was in an opposition to Uranus and a square to Saturn. So this week we are doing that work till Friday. We will be working on transforming, on changing, on ending things, on beginning things, on spiritual growth as well. And that's the overall energy of this week till Friday. And then I will speak about the full moon partial lunar eclipse, and we will be in that energy starting on Friday. So that being said, let's talk about the highlights for this week. Now a lot of things are happening, and the most important of those is an eclipse on Friday. And this is a full moon partial lunar eclipse, which is about emotional release, which is about endings, and eclipses are also extremely karmic. And with this eclipse on Friday, we will enter a very karmic zone, because it will be the period between eclipses from, I believe, November 19th. Is it November 19th? Let me check. Yeah, it's November 19th to December 4th. We will be in eclipse zone, right? That time period. Karmic events, fated events, destined events will happen. And we are already in a karmic zone, and that's because the new moon in Scorpio on November 4th began that, because Scorpio is a karmic sign. But with eclipses, the karmic energy will just peak one more notch higher. So the most important event for this week is the eclipse that happens on Friday. Now, coupled with that, we have a few other aspects that are very important as well. Now, Mars this week is going to oppose Uranus, so that's a lot of energy, and that can feel like a lot of intensity as well. So we'll talk about that. But towards the end of the week, as we have this eclipse, we have some positivity coming in that Venus will trine Uranus and sextile Mars, and we will also have the Sun entering the sign of Sagittarius, lowering the intensity a little bit. So those are the highlights for this week. Now I am going to open up the charts and talk about each day's energy, starting with Monday, November 15th, all the way up to November 21st, Sunday. So let me pull up the charts for you guys. So the chart for Monday is open, and I will begin by speaking about something that I spoke about in last week's video as well. And that is that Venus here at 8 degrees of Capricorn is squaring Chiron, and the moon is conjunct Chiron. Now this is happening at midnight Pacific time Monday, right? not Monday night, more like Sunday night, Monday morning, midnight. And I'm going to speak about Pacific time in this video, but if you are elsewhere in the world, you can always convert the Pacific time to your time zone to know when the energy is going to happen for you. And if you are on the eastern part of the world, just add a few hours. So if it's midnight Pacific time, it's more like 8, 9 a.m. or even noon eastern part of the world. Now that being said, let's talk about this energy. So we begin Monday with a feeling of not feeling the best about our relationships and projects, and that's because the planet of relationships and projects, Venus, is making a stressful aspect with Chiron, the planet of our pain, the planet of our wounds, but it is also the planet that heals us. And the moon, our emotions, is conjunct Chiron. Our emotions are also face to face with our pain, with our wounds at this point. So this is not the best energy, I'll be honest with you, but it's not negative. Although we might feel not the best about our projects and relationships, the goal here is to adjust something or make a change either emotionally or in our projects and relationships so that we can heal ourselves. And that's what this energy is about. More than feeling the pain, it's about healing. But the healing comes after we face that pain, after we face those wounds, and this is connected to our relationships and projects. So that's the first thing on Monday. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is that the sun here at 23 degrees of Scorpio is in a square to Jupiter, and it will be in a square to Jupiter all day. But at the same time, it is also in a sextile to Pluto. So one stressful aspect with the square and one positive aspect with the sextile. So this is a mixed energy. On one hand, this can be a feeling of feeling slightly less optimistic, slightly less hopeful. But through this feeling of feeling less hopeful, less optimistic, we are transforming and changing something, because Jupiter is the planet of hope, optimism, and joy, and Pluto is the planet of transformation, change, and catharsis. And now the sun, our soul, is aspecting both of them. So at this point, we can feel slightly less optimistic or less hopeful or joyous, but it comes at a point where we're also transforming something. So maybe because we are transforming, we're not feeling the best. But I think it's more an energy that goes something like this. We are not feeling hopeful and optimistic about something, right? Sun square Jupiter. And through that feeling of feeling a little less optimistic or hopeful, we say, okay, I need to change something, Pluto. And we start that transformation, we start that change. And this is a very deep transformation. It could be all inner work that we're doing at this time, because Pluto is all about the subconscious. It's our psychology, it's work that we do within ourselves. So this is a lot of inner work going on right now to change something in ourselves, transform something in ourselves, to regain that hope, faith, joy, optimism again. And the whole day we will feel this intensity. And that's it from Monday actually. That's the most important thing on Monday. But we are also feeling the Mars-Uranus opposition build, which will come exact on Wednesday, on Monday as well. So feeling this powerful energy, a lot of energy start to build on Monday, right? Because Jupiter is already squaring the sun. Pluto is sextiling the sun. So like I said, this is a lot of energy, and on top of that, Mars is getting ready to oppose Uranus, and we're feeling the build-up. And Mars is action, it's our drive, it's how we take action, it's how we do things. And Mars is, very simply put, energy, because to do something we require energy. Mars is our energy. And Uranus is the planet of sudden change, it's the planet of unexpected things, it's the planet that also wants us to be our true, authentic, unique self. And with an aspect to Mars, this can be a lot of energy, right? Because Uranus is sudden, it's unexpected, and it's a lot of energy. And now it's opposing Mars, the planet of our drive, how we take action, and our energy. So this could be a sudden, unexpected change that we are building up to when it comes to how we do things, how we take action. It could just be an energy that just changes up how we do things or take action, or changes up our energy. But whatever this change is, it might feel like a lot, but it will help us connect more with our true authentic self, because that's Uranus as well. And we'll talk about that more on Wednesday's energy. But that's the brief of what this energy is. And we are feeling this on Monday. We're feeling it build up. And now moving on to Tuesday. Let's move to Tuesday. All right. So let's talk about this. And on Tuesday, the whole day, we will have the Sun Pluto sextile on, right? So you can see the Sun is at 24 and Pluto is at 24, and the whole day we are going to feel this. But it's moved off its square to Jupiter. So now that feeling of feeling less hopeful and optimistic is wearing off, and the transformation we started to make yesterday is getting more and more complete. So that's something that will go on in the background all of Tuesday. And Venus here has moved off its square to Chiron. So we are not feeling as wounded, or we're not feeling the pain, or we're not feeling as low as we were on Monday. And those are the background energies. Another background energy is the Mars-Uranus opposition energy that we will feel on Tuesday as well, and it will peak on Wednesday. So Tuesday is like an extreme build-up of this energy, which is a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and we'll talk more about that on Wednesday's video because it peaks then. And let's talk about what else is happening on Tuesday. Now, the first important thing is that at about 6 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it about evening eastern part of the world, Tuesday, the moon in Aries is in a sextile to Jupiter. So Tuesday morning, we start to regain that hope, joy, optimism again, because the sun has moved off. It's moved to 24, right? It's not at 23 anymore. It's moved off 23. It's in a sextile with Pluto, and now the moon is sextiling Jupiter. We are building that positivity, that hope, that joy, that optimism again by Tuesday morning. However, by 9 a.m., the moon does make a stressful aspect, more like 8 a.m. Pacific time. So about evening, eastern part of the world, Pluto and the moon are in a square. Now this is demanding a certain change to our emotions. We've already started to transform something deep within us, our soul, our consciousness. But now Pluto is demanding a change to our emotions that can feel slightly challenging because it's a square. So perhaps what change we started to make on Monday within ourselves, our psychology, our subconscious mind, became easier by Tuesday morning. But here at this moment, for about a couple of hours, 8 to 10 a.m. Tuesday morning, we can feel a little bit of that intensity because now our emotions are sort of imbibing or adjusting to the change that we made in our psychology and deep within our soul. So this can feel like a lot of heaviness. It can feel just a feeling of feeling stressed, but the moon moves so fast that this energy will wear off in an hour or two. So just keep that in mind, or 3 at the most. And towards the evening, the moon will change signs and enter the sign of Taurus. Now this is about 7 p.m. Pacific time, so early morning, eastern part of the world, Wednesday morning. What's happening here is that the moon has entered the sign of Taurus. Now this is a very different energy than we have been for the past 2.5 days or so. And the moon changes signs every 2.5 days, and whenever it does, the focus in our life, the energy in our life shifts in subtle ways. The moon in Aries, which it will be till about 7 p.m. Pacific time, Tuesday evening, early morning, eastern part of the world, Wednesday, is an energy that's very impulsive. It's about taking action. It's about getting things done. And it's an energy that can be very reactive as well. And with the square to Jupiter, and with the Mars-Uranus opposition building, it could have been an energy that could have got some reaction out of us. So I should have mentioned that on Monday and Tuesday, but just be mindful of that that on Monday and Tuesday we can react. But the moon in Taurus is a very different energy. The moon loves to be in Taurus, right? The moon in Taurus is a very stable energy. It's a very grounded energy. It's not reactive. It's not about let's do this now. It's more like, okay, I'm stable. I want to indulge in some food. I want to be with nature. I want to take care of myself. I want to ground my emotions. That's moon in Taurus. So for the next 2.5 days, we will be in this energy. But that being said, the full moon partial lunar eclipse is in the sign of Taurus. So we will start to feel the intensity of the full moon partial lunar eclipse that will happen on Friday from Tuesday evening. We'll start to feel that. So that's Tuesday evening, and we are still building up to the Mars-Uranus opposition, which will come exact tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning, Pacific time. So let's see that happen. I'm going to move up the chart to Wednesday now. And the Mars-Uranus opposition comes exact at about 10 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it about evening, night, eastern part of the world. So what's happening here is that Uranus at 12:15 is in an exact opposition to Mars, right? So let's talk about this energy. Now, Uranus is the planet of sudden change, unexpected change, and Uranus is a lot of energy. It's the planet that rules electricity. So you can imagine how much energy it has. But the energy with Uranus is in bursts. It's like it releases a lot of energy and then nothing. A lot of energy and then nothing. So that's Uranus. And Uranus is also the planet of our unique, authentic self. It wants us to be our true self. That's what Uranus wants. And for that, Uranus can break anything that's in our way. It says, okay, this is preventing you from being your true, authentic self. Let me get rid of it for you. I don't care whether you like it or not. I'm going to get rid of it because it's not serving you anymore. That's Uranus, right? And now it's opposing Mars. Now, what is Mars? Mars is our energy. It's our drive. It's how we do things, it's how we take action, it's taking action, it's getting things done. So this energy here can bring about a sudden unexpected change to how we get things done. Or it could be a sudden unexpected change to our drive and energy. And through this change, we can become more in tune with our true authentic self, because that's what Uranus does. It changes up things so that we can be our true authentic self. On the flip side, every energy has a positive manifestation and a so-called negative manifestation. But on the flip side, since Uranus is so much energy and Mars is a warrior, it's the planet of aggression as well, this can bring about a tendency to get angry and frustrated. So just be mindful of that and just channel this energy in a positive way. So that's the energy, and this energy is also in a square with Uranus, right? Saturn is squaring Mars. The square came exact last week, but they're still in a square, and Saturn here has been squaring Uranus all year. Now, if you don't know about the Saturn-Uranus square, the Saturn-Uranus square is an energy that we are seeing after 21 years. And we've been in this energy for the whole year and will be till next year. So it's something that we will work through on a more long-term basis. And this energy is something that is demanding us to change. It's demanding us to embrace the new, get rid of the old, and it's also asking us to embrace our true authentic self and get rid of the idea of who we think we should be. And the whole year we've been working on this, and the next year we will be working on this as well. And now Mars has come in contact with both these energies, right? So whatever change that comes to our drive, to how we take action, to our energy, that will propel us one more step towards being our true authentic self, Uranus, is something that we've been working on all year. It's nothing new, right? The energy is peaking now, but it's nothing new. It's one more important pivotal step in that process of coming into our own, getting rid of the idea of who we think we should be, coming into the new and getting rid of the old. So it ties into that energy, something we've been working on all year and will work on all of next year as well. But this can be a lot of energy, so just be mindful of that. Let it pass and don't get angry at this point, because we can get a little angry and frustrated, or we can just feel like a lot of intensity at this point, because the moon is closing up to Uranus as well. The moon is our emotions, right? And at this point, it is closing up to Uranus, and it is also squaring Saturn. And the moon square Saturn energy as it is happening while Mars is opposing Uranus is not an easy one, and that's because the moon does not like to come in contact with Saturn. Saturn is the planet of hard work and decisions and discipline and commitments, and the moon is our emotions. They don't really get along that much. So whenever Saturn makes an aspect with the moon, especially a stressful one, we feel it, right? So don't let this energy get you down. Don't let this energy get you angry and frustrated. On the contrary, think of it this way, that it is changing up things, changing up our energy, changing up how we do things, so that we can become closer, we can get more in tune with our true authentic self. But I'll repeat one more time that this can be a very volatile energy. So don't let that energy get the better of you, because now you know that it's a lot of energy and you can keep a control on it, right? And use it to change things up, change up how you do things, change up how you take action, and just channel it in a positive way. And that's how we begin Wednesday morning. And another thing I do want to mention, that I have been mentioning for a while with the new moon in Scorpio as well, is that although the new moon energy that we are in as we speak about this horoscope it is very intense, yes, but it has a silver lining and it has a healing element to it. And today, as this is going on, as Mars is opposing Uranus and Saturn is squaring the moon exact, Saturn is also sextiling Chiron, 60-degree angle positive. And Saturn has been sextiling Chiron for months now, and it will sextile Chiron for a few more months. Now, Chiron, like I said, is the planet of our pain and wounds, and Saturn is visions and commitments and defining things, and it's also a builder. So throughout the year, through building, through taking decisions, through making commitments, we're also healing, and this energy is there on this day as well. Saturn is sextiling Chiron, so although we feel this intensity, it is also healing us in many ways. As we change how we do things, as we change how we take action, as we change our energy, which can feel quite intense, healing is taking place, because Saturn is sextiling Chiron, which it has been doing for months now. And Saturn is aspecting both Mars and Uranus, and Saturn is also aspecting Chiron. So this is that energy. And I think, yeah. And one more thing that I want to mention for today, Wednesday, is that Venus has hit 11 degrees, right? Now, Venus is going to retrograde by the end of the year, December 19th to be exact. December 18th or 19th. I think it's 19th. Something around then. And Venus will retrograde towards the end of the year, and the degrees that it will cover during its retrograde are degrees 11 to 26 of Capricorn. So you can see on the chart, Venus has hit 11 degrees, right? So this is the area, let me clean up the chart and show you. From 11 degrees, where it is now, to a little after Pluto, say this. This is the area that Venus will cover 3 times, right? Right now, till December 19th, it's going to cover it once. That's a bad line. Okay, let me do it again. So here to here. So it's going to go forward till December 19th. And then it's going to move back. and then it's going to start moving forward again. So this area right here, 11 to 26 degrees, is going to be covered 3 times, which means whatever happens to our projects, relationships, and even how we feel about ourselves, starting from Wednesday till it goes retrograde December 19th, is what we will be reviewing again. So just keep a lookout for your projects and your relationships and how you feel about yourself during this period, because these are the themes that will come back while Venus is retrograde towards the end of the year. And this Venus retrograde is happening in Capricorn, right? And the last time Venus retrograded in Capricorn was in 2013 December, 2014 Jan, that period. And Venus retrogrades in the same sign every 8 years. So think of your life, December 2013, Jan 2014. Similar themes might come back during this particular retrograde, which starts in December of this year, for you to close out or review or just work on. So think about that as well, and Venus has entered the zone where it will retrograde. And that's Wednesday. So last week also, Wednesday was an intense day. This week also, I would say Wednesday is a sort of intense day. Not as intense as last week, but we do have the Mars-Uranus opposition Wednesday morning, Saturn square the moon, and that can feel like a lot. So just be mindful of that. And yeah, now let's move on to Thursday. Now Thursday is a day where we can see some positivity. Actually, not some, all this is not negative. It's just a feeling of feeling a little bit of intensity, but through intensity, we grow and we evolve and we change and we become better. So think of it like that. Don't think of it like, oh, it's negative. No, it's not negative. It's just asking change. It's just asking us to change and transform. And that to us feels challenging. But often change is something that keeps us relevant. And change is something that helps us grow. So view it as that. And moving on. Moving on to Thursday, what's happening here is that Mercury is going to trine Neptune, and this is about 7 a.m. Pacific time, so evening, eastern part of the world, Thursday. Mercury here at 20 degrees is in a trine with Neptune. Now let's talk about this energy. Mercury is the planet of our logical mind. Mercury is our communication. It's our thinking. It is also the day-to-day. What do you do day to day? Routine, I wake up at this time, I eat this, I exercise this way. That's Mercury as well. Mercury is also our job. It's also our health. So a lot of things in our life are Mercury ruled. And Mercury now is making a positive aspect to Neptune, the planet of the higher realm, the planet of spirituality. And Neptune has this very distinct energy. On one hand, it can be very magical and spiritual, and on the other hand, it can cause a lot of confusion. But this is a positive aspect. So this could be a feeling of feeling very creative. It's a great time for creative writing, things like that, because Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, and it is also very creative, and now it's making a positive aspect with our mind, with our thinking, with our communication. So this can be an energy that gives us a lot of creativity when it comes to maybe writing or communicating or just thinking. Or it can be an energy that syncs our logical mind with the higher realms. It can make us very spiritual. Or it can just be a feeling very magical. That's Neptune. Neptune is magical. Feeling magical about the day-to-day. Mercury, about the mundane. Mercury, about a routine or health or job or diet or social media, a good feeling associated with these things, or an opportunity to be very spiritual and creative in our thinking and communication. So this is a positive energy. Neptune can cause confusion, especially when it contacts Mercury, our logical mind, but I don't think it is going to cause confusion because this is a positive aspect. But if you are feeling confused, see, you never know with Neptune. Neptune is one of those things that's very elusive. So you never know with Neptune. But if you are feeling confused and a little low although that is not likely to happen with a positive aspect. If you are feeling confused and a little low, then let this energy pass, and it will, because Mercury also moves pretty fast, not as fast as the moon, but it will move off this exact trine quite fast. So that's the first thing. Now the next thing I want to mention is that Mars will hit 13 degrees today. So it is easing off that opposition to Uranus that happened on Wednesday. It's a 1 degree orb, less than a 1 degree orb. So we'll be feeling the intensity even today of what we spoke about yesterday, the Mars-Uranus opposition in a square to Saturn, a change to our drive, how we take action, how we do things. But now it's easing off. Mars is moving on. The energy is easing off. Right? And towards the evening, we do have a positive aspect. We have the moon now in a trine with Pluto. So this can be a transformation to our emotions again, and this is happening easily. It's not stressful as it was, I believe, on Tuesday morning 9 a.m. It's not stressful. It's just happening on its own. Perhaps because we've gone through the Mars-Uranus opposition, transformed something, changed something, adjusted something, and now our emotions are following suit. And I know it sounds strange to speak of ourselves as in parts, Mercury our mind, and the moon our emotions, and Mars our drive, and Venus our relationships and projects. We often think of ourselves as one entity, and we are, but sometimes our emotions do lag behind, right? We know something in our logical mind to be right and true, but our emotions don't agree. It takes time, or vice versa. We feel a certain way and it takes time for the logical mind to agree with that feeling. So although we are one entity, we have these varying parts of ourselves. So that's why I speak like this, because the moon represents our emotions, right? And Mars is our drive. So now our emotions are probably undergoing a transformation because our drive, how we do things, our energy did undergo an opposition to Uranus. And this is happening easily, so it's not stressful. And at night, at 11 p.m., we have a very positive aspect. Venus here is trining Uranus. Venus is our projects. It's how we feel about ourselves. It's our relationships. Venus is all these important things in our life. So is Mercury. Mercury is more like the day-to-day, the communication. Venus is what we cherish in many ways. We cherish our relationships. We cherish what we work on, our projects. We cherish our self-worth, right? That's Venus. And now Venus is making a positive aspect with Uranus, the planet of sudden change, unexpected change, the planet that wants us to be our true authentic self. So this is a point where we might change something that is connected to relationships and projects, but it is not stressful. It's happening organically and naturally. And again, through this transformation to our relationships, to our projects, or how we approach relationships and projects, or simply how we feel about ourselves, Venus, or through the transformation, we become one more step closer to our true authentic self. Right? And this is a positive aspect, and at the same time, almost, Venus is sextiling Mars. Mars is action, Venus is our projects and relationships. So this can really give us that courage or that drive or that energy to make that sudden change happen. It's a positive energy. This is a positive energy, although Mars, our drive, is still feeling the intensity of Uranus. But Venus is making a positive aspect. So our relationships and projects are undergoing a positive sudden change, which can be unexpected and sudden. But it doesn't feel quite stressful. It's a positive aspect. And that's how we end Thursday. And then on Friday, we have the full moon partial lunar eclipse. So I'm going to move up the chart. Actually, Pacific time, it happens. Let me pull up the chart. I'll show you guys. So it happens close to midnight, actually, Pacific time. It's happening at 27:14 of Taurus. So this is a little ahead, but it's 27 degrees 14 minutes of Taurus. Now the eclipse is happening. So this is really close to Thursday midnight. So early morning Friday, early morning Friday, midnight actually. And for the eastern part of the world, this would make it in the morning or noon, around that zone. So let's talk about this energy. So this is a full moon partial lunar eclipse. Now, what is a full moon? A full moon is when the sun and the moon oppose each other, and it's a point of completion, it's a point of culmination, it's a point of emotional release, and it becomes an eclipse when the nodes are nearby. The nodes are karmic. The north node here and the south node here. The nodes are karmic points, which means eclipses are karmic points. Eclipses are karmic zones. And from now begins the karmic zone till December 4th. Now, what is an eclipse? Eclipse is basically something that is karmic. It is fated. It is destined to happen. It can bring about events that have been due to happen but haven't happened for some reason. And this is a full moon eclipse, which means this eclipse is about endings and emotional release. That's what this eclipse is about. And this eclipse will also give us more clarity about the new moon in Scorpio, which happened on November 4th. What happened then? What changed then? A little bit more clarity will come about. And eclipses are different from regular full moons simply because a full moon energy stays with us for about 2 weeks or a month at most. But an eclipse energy can stay with us for a much longer time. So that's the basic difference. It's karmic. The energy stays with us for a longer time. We work on this energy for a longer time. Events that are destined and fated to happen during this period, starting November 19th to December 4th. Now, that being, I will break down this energy in detail in my eclipse video, but just to give you the highlights, I do want to mention a few things. Now, this is happening in the sign of Taurus and Scorpio. Now, check for 27 degrees 14 minutes of Scorpio in your chart, and that's where this energy will affect you. Now let's talk about Taurus and Scorpio. So Taurus is a sign that rules our material world. It's a very stable sign. It's about beauty. It's about security. It's about abundance. It's about indulging. It's about enjoying life. It's about manifesting. And Scorpio is the polar opposite of Taurus, right? It's the opposite. And Scorpio is not material wealth like Taurus, but spiritual wealth. It's not stability like Taurus, it's transformation and change. And it's not beauty that is visible like Taurus. It is beneath the surface, it is hidden. In Taurus, we seek security. In Scorpio, we seek the truth. In Taurus, we face the abundance of life, the resources of life. In Scorpio, we face the fears. And Taurus is about enjoying life. Scorpio is about rising through the dark into the light. And Taurus is our material world and Scorpio is the hidden. So in many ways, these two signs are very different, and that's why they form one axis, because they cannot exist without one another, right? Taurus and Scorpio form one axis to such different energies. And this eclipse is happening at this axis, which means it will highlight these themes. But more importantly, it will highlight wherever Taurus and Scorpio 27 degrees lie in your chart. So why I mentioned what Taurus and Scorpio are is because the eclipse will highlight these themes. It will highlight materiality. It will highlight what we value. It will highlight what we seek security in or what we consider beautiful. And on the other hand, it will highlight transformation, change, finding the truth, facing our fears and rising from the dark into the light, Scorpio. So this is the axis, the Taurus-Scorpio axis, that is the axis from the material world to the hidden world, right? So everything will come to light with this eclipse in a way. And I will speak more about the aspects in the eclipse video, but this eclipse is in a square to Jupiter. It is in a, let me clean up the chart first. The eclipse is here, right? So it's in a square to Jupiter, 90-degree angle. It's in a trine with Pluto, positive. And you can say it's in a sextile with Neptune. So these are the three important aspects this moon is making. And on the chart, we have other things going on as well. Uranus and Venus are in a trine, right? And Venus here is in a sextile with Mars. Saturn and Chiron are also in a sextile, and Mercury here is still in a trine with Neptune. So why I will break down these aspects in the eclipse video, because these are a lot of aspects to talk about, and if I speak about it in this video, it will take a long time. But to put it very simply, the only stressful aspect this eclipse is making is a square to Jupiter, which means the energy of this eclipse can be extremely magnified, because Jupiter magnifies anything it touches. But with the trine to Pluto, this eclipse is also about transformation. And I'm not surprised, because Scorpio and Taurus, especially Scorpio, is about transformation. So one stressful aspect and all the other aspects are positive. So although we might feel the intensity of this eclipse, just remember a lot of positivity is going on in the background, which we will discuss in the eclipse video. And if that's not on my channel already, it will be very, very shortly. So you can refer to that for this particular energy. So Friday is the highlight of the week, so to speak. Now I will move up the chart and talk about a few things, because as soon as we have the eclipse at about 8 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it about early evening Friday, almost 8 p.m., around early evening Friday, eastern part of the world, the moon changes signs. And the moon has entered Gemini. So now it's not about stability and security as it was in Taurus, but now it's more about wanting to do a lot of things, wanting to talk about a lot of things. It's a very stimulated energy. And with the North Node there, it's just magnified this energy of wanting to do a lot of things, talk about a lot of things. So that's what we are going to be in the next 2.5 days or so. The energy of being very playful. Gemini is a very playful energy. So this is the moon changing signs after the eclipse does brighten up things, because Gemini is a very happy-go-lucky, not happy-go-lucky, but very lively, fun-loving energy. So that's what we will be in for the next 2.5 days. And it will conjunct the North Node, which means the Gemini energy of being extremely stimulated will be more magnified. And just be mindful with the moon's transit through Gemini to not let your senses get overly stimulated. Take time out if you're feeling restless, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling like there's too much. Just take some time out. Now, this happens at about 8 a.m. and by 11 p.m. Friday night, we will have the moon move on and trine Saturn. Moon trine Saturn, another positive aspect after the eclipse. So this could be a moment where we define something in our emotions, or make a commitment in our emotions, or just take a decision. And this could happen because we've gone through an eclipse. And this is not stressful. It comes about easily and naturally. And another thing I wanted to mention about the eclipse energy is that delay decisions, delay taking actions, delay reacting to things during an eclipse. Give it a day, 2 days, maybe even 3-4 days, and let whatever's happened, if something's happened, let it sink in before you react immediately. Right? Because it's a full moon eclipse, it is ending something, it is releasing something. It could be a release of a lot of emotions as well. And eclipse days are not the best time to really decide something. Just let it sit on the energy and decide a few days later. Now moving on to Saturday. Saturday we have one important event, and that's at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, or 4 p.m. is it? Okay, Yeah, at about 3 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon Pacific time. So really early morning or late night for the eastern part of the world, which is Friday. And what's happening here is that Mercury is sextiling Pluto but squaring Jupiter. Now, what the sun went through on Monday and Tuesday, what our soul went through on Monday and Tuesday with the square to Jupiter and sextile to Pluto, now our mind is catching up. So we've seen this on Monday with the sun. Now we are seeing this with our logical mind. And this is again a moment of trying to maintain that hope, joy, and optimism, Jupiter, because it's making a stressful aspect with our logical mind. And by maintaining that hope, joy, optimism, of making certain changes to our thinking or communication or day-to-day or lifestyle or routine or habits, we can regain that joy and optimism, and transformation is the end result of that change or adjustment. And this time, it's not something deep in our soul. It's not something subconscious as it was on Monday and Tuesday, but it's more tangible. Either it's how we communicate or how we think, or just our mind, which is intangible. But it could also be a change or adjustment to our routine, our health, our job, our lifestyle, through which we transform. And that's the most important event of Saturday. We do have one more aspect, and this happens at 11 at night, 11 p.m. Pacific time, so early morning, eastern part of the world. And what's happening here is that the moon in Gemini is squaring Neptune. Now, this is not the easiest energy, to be honest with you. Neptune is magical, it's spiritual, it's the higher realms, yes, but it is also the planet of delusions and confusion and feeling a little low, and it's contacting our emotions right now in a stressful way. So we can feel confused, we can feel a little low emotionally, and if that's happening, just let this energy pass. Just let it pass. And that's pretty much it for Saturday. Now moving on to Sunday. We have a few things to talk about, and the energy really shifts on Sunday. So let's see what's happening. And at 2 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it about noon, mid-morning, eastern part of the world, what's happening is that Mercury here is in an exact sextile to Pluto. So what we spoke about for Saturday, that change, that adjustment in our thinking, communication, mind, diet, health, lifestyle, routine, day to day, to keep that hope, joy, optimism alive, that would have led to some transformation, is becoming complete by this point. It's come exact, and now this energy will start to ease off. That's the first thing. Now the second thing is a positive one, and this is 10 a.m. Pacific time. So about early evening, night, eastern part of the world. And what's happening here is that the moon is in a trine with Jupiter. Jupiter is joy, it's optimism, it's healing, it's blessings, and the moon is our emotions. So now again, we started to feel joyous and hopeful and optimistic and happy. So actually this is more like 9 a.m., not 10, 9 a.m. And towards the end of the day, we'll see a shift in energy. The moon will change signs, and so will the sun. Now the moon has entered the sign of Cancer, and you can see at the same time the sun has entered the sign of Sagittarius, right? And at the same time, you can see Mars has moved off onto 15 degrees off of its square opposition to Uranus. It went off the opposition a few days ago, but now it's moving apart 3 degrees, 4 degrees, then the energy will really ease off. So let's talk about the moon first, then we'll talk about the sun. And the moon in Cancer is a very different energy than the moon in Gemini. So coming into Sunday evening, early Monday morning for the eastern part of the world, the energy really shifts from a lot of stimulation, wanting to do a lot of things, wanting to talk about a lot of things, a lot of overly stimulating energy. We're coming into the moon in Cancer. Moon rules the sign of Cancer, and this energy is about going within. It's about finding our comfort. It's about nourishing ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So for the next 2.5 days, we will be focused on nourishing ourselves, taking care of ourselves, going within. So that's one shift, right? The second shift is a longer shift, I would say, and that's the sun has changed signs from Scorpio. It's entered Sag. Now the sun in Scorpio is a very, very intense energy. Scorpio is a very intense sign. It's about finding the truth. It's about digging deep to find the answers. It's about our psychology. It's about facing our fears. It's about rising through the darkness, so to speak, right? Rising from the Scorpion into the Phoenix, the lower vibration of Scorpio, into the higher vibration of Scorpio. And in Scorpio, we do a lot of work, a lot of inner work, a lot of digging deep into our emotions and psychology and facing our fears. But Sag is different. Sag is where we found the light, right? We've done the work in Scorpio. We've faced the truth. We've faced the fears. We've transformed spiritually. We are on an up. We're rising. And then we reach Sag. Sag is the light. What is light? Light is information. And Sag is knowledge and wisdom, right? So this is where the energy really shifts. We are still in the intensity. Mars is still in Scorpio, but the sun has moved on. So this will be a much lighter energy, a happier energy. Sag is a Jupiter-ruled sign, so it's a very optimistic, fun-loving, looking at the glass half full rather than half empty sort of energy. And this will lighten up the intensity that we have been going through, especially since, I would say, October 30th, when Mars entered Scorpio. We had Mars in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, the Sun in Scorpio, a lot of Scorpio. So the sun moving out will lighten up the energy, and it will also in many ways help us focus on the positive, help us focus on the light, help us focus on knowledge and wisdom, and it's overall a happy-go-lucky sort of energy. And that's how we end the week, with the sun entering Sag, coming at a time where it gets intense, so to lighten up everything. And a few days later, on November 24th, Mercury will also change signs and enter Sag. So that Scorpio energy will really start to go down. We've done a lot of the Scorpio work, especially since November 4th. We've done a lot of facing the truth, a lot of transformation, a lot of digging deep and changing. And now the energy will start to lighten up, although as the Sun and Mercury both move into Sag, we will still be in the karmic zone, November 19th to December 4th. So keep that in mind as we go through the next few days. So that's it for this week. And starting Friday, we are in the full moon energy, full moon partial lunar eclipse energy, a karmic zone. So keep that in mind. Now I will pick a card or a few cards for this week depending on how it goes. So let's get started. And let me start with this deck today. Okay. Between Worlds. I think this card sums up Scorpio also, right? Because Scorpio is where we face the dark to move into the light, and I think this is where we are at. We are facing the dark, we are facing our fears, we are facing the subconscious, we are facing our issues, so to speak, so that we can move into the light. In many ways, this can also be said to be the Scorpio into the rising Venus, the dark into the light. So maybe this is another week where we are doing the work and slowly we are stepping into the light, and then the energy will move into Sag, which is knowledge, which is wisdom, which is light. So right now we are transforming, we are changing, we are in between worlds. I think that's a good card for this week, but let's pick one more, okay? Let's pick one more. Growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness, and this is another great card for this week because through intensity, through the squares and the oppositions, we grow and evolve and become better, and our consciousness and awareness increases as well, right? And Scorpio is what? It's spiritual growth, it's spiritual transformation. So whatever we've been going through has been about growing, has been about transforming, and this week we are continuing the work. So keep this in mind, that this is not an intense week. This is not a week of squares and oppositions. This is a week of growth and evolving. Okay, so this openness. And I think last week also we got a card that says open up your heart, right? We got something like that. And I think again the message is clear, that be open. And this is a full moon card, and we have a full moon on Friday. So keep yourself open. Don't close yourself, right? Don't close yourself. Be open. Especially maybe with the eclipse energy, because this is a full moon. It could have been anything else for openness, right? The image, but it's a moon, so it's maybe something to do with the eclipse. But keep your energy open, keep your heart open. Like I had said last week, it can be easy to shut down, close ourselves when we've been through a lot of pain, when our heart has been broken. But don't go there. Keep yourself open. And Scorpio is a very intense energy, right? Scorpio is all or nothing. So if a Scorpio energy goes all in and it gets hurt, it closes off. I'm not saying if you're a Scorpio, you do this. I'm just speaking about Scorpio in general. And we all have Scorpio somewhere in our charts, right? So we all have that Scorpio energy somewhere. And Scorpio is all or nothing. Scorpio is intensity. And sometimes when we get hurt, we close ourselves completely. So open up yourself, open up your heart. And sometimes that's important for growth as well, you know. We can't really grow if we are closed off. And some of the most important growth comes when we go through heartbreak. That's just how it is. Okay, let's pick one more. Rebirth. Let go of the ties that bind. And you know, I didn't speak about this in the new moon in Scorpio video, nor did I speak about this in the energy video for that week. But Scorpio is also a sign of relationships. It's not like Libra, legal relationships, marriage and all that, but it's a sign that rules intimate relationships. And this is saying rebirth. Let go of the ties that bind. And rebirth is also a Scorpio thing. We transform, we end, we begin. We go through a regeneration or a rebirth in Scorpio. And this time, this week, what's coming into play is the ties that bind us. So pay special attention to relationships this week, because Venus is aspecting Uranus this week, right? Although in a positive way, Venus, the planet of our relationships, is aspecting Uranus, the planet of sudden change, and the planet that wants us to be our true self, and that will not settle for anything that prevents us from being our true self. And maybe look at that from the ties that you have in your life point of view. Who supports your truth? Who supports your true authentic self? And prioritize them, maybe. Okay, let's go with one more. Let's just go with this deck. Okay, this is the last card, so then we'll close it out. Radiance. Rejoice in your life. And I think this is more towards the end of the week. We'll have this energy, we'll have the Sag energy coming in with the sun changing signs on November 21st, Sunday, Mercury following following the sun soon after that on November 24th. And it says embrace yourself. Like, it says radiance, but it says rejoice in your life. And what she's doing is she's embracing herself. She's embracing her truth. So maybe this week, embrace yourself. Embrace in your truth, rejoice in your truth is what I would say. Because by the end of the week, the energy begins to shift and lighten up. So I think that sums it up for this week, and as far as the cards are concerned. And now I will just give you a brief overview, brief summary rather, of the week. And let's start with Monday. So Monday has this intensity to it as we build to the Mars-Uranus opposition, as well as the fact that we have the Jupiter-Sun square on Monday. So it's not a moment that feels intense and then the energy goes down. It's a build-up of a lot of intensity. And through changing something deep in our subconscious, we'll transform emotionally or in our subconscious. So that's Monday. Then Tuesday has a positive element in the background with the Sun sextiling Pluto. A lot of transformation happening deep within us. That is not stressful. That is happening automatically and organically. But the Mars-Uranus opposition is building, and we will feel this more intensely on Tuesday than we did on Monday. And Wednesday is when the Mars-Uranus opposition happens. So we'll feel a lot of energy in the morning. Now this energy should be channeled in a positive way, because there is a tendency for it to get a little angry and frustrated. So just temper it down. And at the same time, Saturn is squaring the moon. So don't let yourself get angry. Don't let yourself get low. Don't let yourself fight, or don't repeat an emotional pattern when this energy is on at about 10 a.m. Wednesday morning Pacific time and towards the evening eastern part of the world. Just use it to change how you do things, change how you take action, and manifest it in a positive way. And if it's not manifesting in a positive way, just don't get angry and frustrated. Don't react. And Thursday, we have positivity building up. We have Venus trining Uranus, sudden unexpected changes to our relationships and projects, and how we feel about ourselves. That does not feel stressful. And we also have the Mercury-Neptune trine, a feeling of feeling magical, a very creative energy, a very spiritual energy, as well as the Moon-Pluto trine, something that is transforming our emotions in a very natural, organic way, which does not feel stressful. So Thursday is the most positive day of the week. Wednesday is Wednesday morning Pacific time and evening eastern part of the world, when the energy is very intense. Monday, Tuesday are more like build-up days. With Monday feeling, actually both will feel a little bit of little intense. And then Friday, we have the eclipse. Now this is happening very close to midnight, 1 a.m. around that time, Pacific time. So around afternoon eastern part of the world. And it's an eclipse that's in a square to Jupiter, but all the other aspects are positive. And I will speak more about the eclipse energy in the eclipse video, but this starts eclipse season, a karmic period, a fated period where destined events will take place till December 4th. And eclipses can bring about sudden events and changes, and it's best not to react on the eclipse day or take decisions or take decisions on the eclipse day. Let the energy sink in, imbibe it, sit on it, and then do your thing. And Saturday is a lighter day with one stressful aspect, the Jupiter-Mercury square. But overall, it's a much lighter energy. And by this time, I believe the moon is in Gemini. So it's a more playful energy as well on Saturday. And Sunday is when the energy really shifts. Sunday evening, Pacific time, which makes it early morning, Monday morning, eastern part of the world. And now the moon in Cancer and sun in Sag is an energy that is more about taking care of ourselves, nourishing ourselves, and more of an upbeat, happy-go-lucky energy. So that's the week in a very brief way, and that's pretty much it, I would say. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great week, and we will begin to see the positivity by the end of the week. And it is not intense, and if you saw my card reading, then you know that it's a week of growth, right? So think of it like that, a week of growth. And this, I also think, is Venus. I know I'm bringing up the card now, but I didn't mention it. I do think this is Venus as well, because Venus is how we feel about ourselves, our self-worth. And Venus is aspecting Uranus this week, sextiling Mars. So maybe we really want to embrace our radiance, our beauty, Venus, this week. And I will see you all for my next video now. Bye.